been a long time. I have no idea if this is actually working, because I'm unfortunately working on foundations of sand, but I felt that it was time to do this. And just bear with me at the moment, because I have no idea if this is working. I'm literally just letting it set up. I've got a whole new system in front of me, and it doesn't work in the same way that it used to work. So hello, and welcome to Forced Adoption Exposed. Forced Adoption Exposed was a page that was created back in 2013 after the removal of Aaron and Faith, which was unlawful, unnecessary. But I was in a tailspin. I didn't know anything that was going on around me. I didn't understand the system that I had come into. And it was a complete and utter car crash. Aaron and Faith were taken within 3 minutes from Wrexham Hospital, and I found myself literally in a court process that I had never been in, never been part of, and never been in this situation before. Now, as people know, Aaron and Faith were taken on the 13th of December 2012. I actually have something I just want to grab out of my bag quickly, because I hadn't planned to do this. I was just literally just sitting there, and I felt inspired that I needed to come on and talk to you guys, and hopefully this will work. So basically, in 2010, as a mother of 4 children, who George Osborne had just announced that there was going to be all of these cuts, all of these scraps that were going to affect people with hidden conditions, mental health and disabilities, and any person who was in the benefit system. As we know, it's changed over to universal credits, but there was other stuff going on. I decided as a mother that I wanted to prepare for all of these changes that were going to go on over the next 10, 15, 20 years. So basically the WHO, the World Health Organization, came together. I think it was about 2007 when they started to make these decisions, but in 2010 they set an agenda for sustainability for 2030. So that basically meant that a worldwide government was looking at the whole frameworks around the world, and they decided how they were going to get sustainability in this way. I, however, decided that there was a big gap in the system, and that people with physical conditions were being disabled and being written off, and none of their passions or purpose or their personality was being brought into this. It was just about whether somebody could get out of bed, whether they could wipe their own bottom, whether they could prepare their own food, and whether they could maybe get to the shop for basic necessities. It wasn't looking holistically at the person with the gaps between where they were, where they wanted to be, and how the system was meant to support and enable. Now, there has been massive budget cuts. As we know, since Exposure, Forced Adoption Exposed first ever sort of came out, we've had Philomena, which has talked about historic forced adoptions. We've had Exposure Don't Take My Child, which has shown why child protection is going so wrong. But still, there is still the drive for adoption. There is still the drive for permanency. There is still the drive to remove children as quick as possible and place them in a stable environment away from the so-called emotional or physical abusers. Now, unfortunately, I actually have a really good photograph that shows the framework of the multi-agencies framework. They're not looking into enabling, empowering families. They're looking on whether you're an extremist, whether or not you're a fundamentalist, whether or not you're somebody who's going to overthrow the current status quo of the country and of the world. And then it's basically down to whether you should be signposted down to services, whether you go onto children in need or child protection. All families are falling into child protection. Why? There's no budget. Now, the challenge that you have with this, and this is what I want people to understand, we will be moved into fear or into faith. That means that if you get a letter that says, we have cause for concern for your child, be it that is come through the school, a health visitor, somebody on the street has made a report, either you will get a knock on the door by police and social who will turn up to say, hey, we just want to know if you're okay, or you will get a letter that says that we have cause for concern and they would like to make an appointment for you to attend a multi-agency framework meeting. Now at the bottom of that letter it will say, if you fail to respond to this, we will have the power to go to court to remove your child. What this does is this instantly creates fear. Now, I've been in here in Portsmouth, where I am now, for the last 4.5 years. So for those that don't know where I went or what's gone on or who runs Forced Adoption Exposed, it's me. I created Forced Adoption Exposed. It was actually done with 2 other parents on a day back in, I think it was October or November 2013, and we had actually shut down an adoption conference. And on that day, we'd come up with lots of different names. Was it going to be Forced Adoption Exposed? Was it going to be Adoption Exposed? And how we were going to go about with this. But obviously, all parents that come into these networks go off and they make their own banners and they do things their own way. Now, the first platform I came onto was Stolen Children of the UK, and that's where you first ever saw me back in 2013 in July, when as a mother I stood there at this event and went, where is everybody? Like, I was expecting thousands of people to be there in London, and I'd actually train hopped all the way from Wales after just receiving my refusal to appeal against the decision for the care and placement orders on Aaron and Faith.